What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news to Counterpunch concerning Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. Of course, last week we did hear something strange come from Bob Arum, something real strange. And I just now getting around to it because now it's on my mind. I'm thinking about it. But Bob Arum has stated there will be no formal press conference. And of course, I've covered it. I've covered it briefly. I've covered the pros, but I did not cover the cons. And I did not answer why in the hell are these guys not having a press conference. I think it's risky. Okay, it's what they're doing. They're introducing a fight in front of millions of people, but they're doing it in a way where they don't have to spend any money. But what they don't want to do, they don't want to put a freaking press conference in. And then my question is, whose idea was that? Was that Bob Arum's? Was that Frank Warren's? Was that PBC? Because it's going to be PBC Fox now. So my question is, whose idea was it not to have press conferences? What boxing event, especially one that's supposed to include ESPN, BT Sports, and a Showtime Fox or Fox PBC? These guys supposed to be merging together. It's about time these guys should meet in the middle, but it seems like they're not really trying to do that. They're trying to weed around a way where they don't have to spend any money on both ends. Okay? Bob Arum, they don't have to have a professional press conference. This fight is already a go. And I'm kind of like, okay, well, that kind of seems smart, but it's risky because now you don't really know how a platform such as football, because you have the Peach Bowl, then you have the Arizona game. Okay, because Tyson Fury is going to be at the Arizona game, and then Deontay Wilder is going to be at the Peach Bowl, and these guys are going to be commentators on on this platform of football, which it's clever in a cheap way. And my counterpunch on ESPN and PBC, Fox, if they're not willing to put the proper promotion into someone or some entity, what are they showing their worth towards? Think about it. These guys have two networks coming together. You imagine Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather? Imagine that shit didn't have a press conference? Like, WTF, like, what is the deal? Why would people want to watch a boxing match that didn't even have a proper press conference? You guys are using another sport to promote your sport, and you call that smart. That could be a good thing. But then again, it could just be a bunch of football fans hearing about a boxing match. Will it take eye to certain people? Maybe so, hopefully. But let's say this. For them cutting corners like they're doing, it could be a setup for failure. And I'm not trying to be a hater. I wish the fight well. But if you don't do the proper things like these promoters know how to do, if you don't, come on, what is this? Right? And I'm having to believe that since Bob Arum spoke of this, it might be from Bob Arum. But Tyson Fury already blasted Deontay Wilder for not showing up to some type of media event where he's supposed to have been present. And that pissed Tyson Fury off. So Tyson Fury's already, blasting him and getting in his head. But then you got to question, well, why didn't he go? Was he advised not to go? Did his side say, you know what, Fox, that's not an obligation for us. You don't have to go and show up to that. If you don't want to see Fury right now, you don't have to. We don't have a formal press conference. So we won't even have an official face-to-face. Matter of fact, these guys ain't talked and ain't seen each other probably since last year. Or, a little bit over a year now. So I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, well, why do they wait to merge two networks? Two networks have no problem with not having a press conference. That's a bad sign. That's a real bad sign. It could be the smartest thing in the world or the dumbest, because they're relying on another platform to adhere what these commentators, these guys doing at the time to host this fight. But they can't even do it together. So it's sad though, because the buildup gets cut in half. Why would you have two guys that you don't even see their energy? You don't see how they react around each other. They're on two parts of the world. They refuse to see each other. They're not talking. They're commenting, social media this, social media that, back and forth, sure. But there was nothing, no altercation, no face-to-face interaction. We couldn't feed off the energy. And my question is, whose fault was that really? Does Tyson Fury have a point? Does Deontay Wilder really want to see him? Maybe Wilder, that's a close fight, people. That's next month. They don't have a lot of time to promote this fight. And I honestly think they think it's a risky fight. That's why they're not investing money in it. That's what I believe. From what we're hearing about Bob Arum, you got two of these networks that don't really want to spend a lot of money. Fox didn't really get a lot from the return from Deontay Wilder, and Tyson Fury's been doing shitty since he signed ESPN. Let's just be real. Let's just be real on two major facts. The Ortiz Deontay Wilder fight was not good. Showtime dropped Deontay Wilder after they made him pass up the deal of a lifetime. Or, you can blame him for that too. You can't just blame Showtime. But, Tyson Fury, he hasn't done much. His ticket sales were piss poor. So I think this is one of those things that they're trying to do experimental. I think what they're doing is they're making sure that they don't have to come out any money for doing what they have to do and cutting all these corners. So if it does belly up, if it does shitty, if it doesn't even do what they did before together, they won't be out of pocket. Nobody loses necessarily, but then nobody wins either. Because what happens, you got competitors looking at this. You got people like Eddie Hearn, Oscar De La Hoya. You got especially Eddie Hearn, because Eddie Hearn has most of the heavyweights. And then what happens, it's a shitty thing to think of, but this is what could happen, on the outside looking in. This fight, because they cut corners, didn't do what it's supposed to do, because they didn't put the money into it to promote it the right way. It don't matter if it's next month. Since they didn't do that, and it does shitty, and the records, the sales stink. We're going to have some people making up sales. Oh, yeah, they really did 400,000. No, they didn't. Right? What happens the winner after that? Whoever wins, either they're going to fight each other or whatever, and then I guess they'll learn from that and trial and error, but they're going to want to demand like certain fights, like purses from Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua's still a cash cow. So if Anthony Joshua decides like, no, I'm not giving these guys my 50% of my pie, because these guys are not even worth the freaking boxing trunks they're wearing, because they're not making any money. That's the bad part about it. But I now think, honestly, that they don't want to lose too much money. Fox don't want to lose another return on Deontay Wilder. ESPN's being cheap. Maybe they paid Tyson Fury too much money in his contract. You know what I mean? It could be they're being cheap. And because they're being cheap, they're trying to do and cut corners and do something that they've never done, but they're trying to get away from not, from paying, money that they could have been using for press conferences. At least New York, LA, somewhere in the UK, they're not doing any of that. That's sad. What are they going to use? Showtime, Fox, PB? We haven't heard anything. But it's just a bad sign when you have two networks coming together and they're doing some cheap, sleazy shit like this. Like funny. It's funny that it's happening. And then as soon as someone comes up the winner, they're going to ask for 50-50. Not understanding you guys could make $4 million a piece, but then you want $30 million for fighting Joshua. But you're supposed to be so much better than Joshua. But anyway, that's my take on it. You guys tell me what you think on why do you think there's not a proper press conference for this fight. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunched. Peace.